Welcome to the 2022 Point in Time Count training video. I'm Jamie Reif with the Metro Denver Homelessness Initiative, just one of the many organizations that come together each year to conduct our region's count. Thank you for your participation in this important event. During this training, we'll be covering key information, including an overview of the point in time, the 14 standards of this count, safety tips, how you'll conduct this count, and show you the mobile tool we'll be using. Please watch until the end of this video, as a link to a short survey is included. Completion of this survey is how you'll confirm your participation in this training, as well as how you'll complete the necessary waiver and confidentiality agreements. So what is the point in time count? The point in time is an annual census of those experiencing homelessness, which generally occurs on the last 10 days of January. Put simply, it's a single night count which provides us a snapshot of the number of people experiencing homelessness on a given night. It is a requirement for federal funding which flows into our region. It also promotes community engagement and awareness, and provides data for assessment and planning on how to end and address homelessness. So who's included in the annual point in time? It includes those experiencing literal homelessness as defined by HUD, which falls into two categories, sheltered and unsheltered. You can see on your screen, sheltered includes such situations as emergency shelters, transitional housing and safe haven, as well as agency-paid motel rooms. You'll be focused on the unsheltered situations, which include places not meant for human habitation, such as vehicles, sidewalks, streets and doorways, underpasses, parks and trails, woods and encampments, abandoned buildings, as well as other places. The annual point in time count is a requirement from HUD, and with that, there are 14 standards that HUD requests that we follow. First, continuums of cares, or COCs, are responsible for planning and conducting point in times that measure up to the HUD requirements. This count must be conducted during the last 10 days of January. COCs, or continuums of cares, are required to approve the final point in time count methodology and plan. We must consult and collaborate within the plan jurisdictions within a geographical area. We must provide the count data to all jurisdictions as a whole and separate. We have to account for and report on all sheltered homelessness by either using our Homeless Management Information System, referred to as HMIS, or by conducting a well-planned sampling. We also must verify that anyone counted as part of the sheltered count meets the HUD definition of homelessness. The next 7 standards include HMIS as being the primary data source, that continuums of care must account for all unsheltered people experiencing homelessness by either census or sampling, that we exclude geographic areas where no people are experiencing homelessness, and our continuum of care that may include regions such as mountains and/or state or federal parkland. We need to verify that unsheltered people are in fact unsheltered. We may only count people once by collecting sufficient information for it to be reliable. We must administer surveys that protect participants' privacy. And lastly, what you're doing today, for those that conduct the point in time, you must be trained on the 14 standards, data collection procedures, as well as protocols for privacy, security, and personal safety. The Metro Denver Continuum of Care includes the 7 counties of Boulder, Broomfield, Adams, Arapahoe, Douglas, Denver, and Jefferson. As you can see, it's a very large geographic region, and we are tasked with counting everyone experiencing homelessness within this region on a single night each year. If you're watching this particular training video, that means you'll be conducting the actual survey with people experiencing homelessness staying in unsheltered situations. Here are a few tips to keep you, as well as those you're surveying, safe. First of all, know who your team lead is and exchange phone numbers. Please only go where your team has been instructed to go, and remain within eyesight of your lead as well as fellow team members during the count. Please always announce yourself or make yourself known, and start the conversation by offering incentives. Our recommendation is to go in groups of 2 or 3. Large groups of volunteers with all those flashlights can be threatening to those experiencing homelessness. Please be aware of your surroundings at all times. Wear good shoes, comfortable clothing, definitely dress in layers, and trust your gut always. If something doesn't feel right, please don't approach or excuse yourself and walk away. During COVID-19, it's incredibly important for us to share other safety protocols related to the pandemic. First of all, please ensure that you're following your local community safety protocols and mandates. HUD is asking for communities to follow CDC guidance, which include things like remote training for volunteers, for example, this training. Please be sure to bring PPE, for example, a mask, and wear it for the duration of the count, as well as any other volunteer efforts. Please conduct counts in compliance with social distancing principles, which recommends remaining at least 6 feet apart. HUD also recommends using mobile counting applications, which requires less physical interaction with others, which is what we will be doing in our continuum of care during this count. For a full list of safety considerations from HUD, please visit the link found on your screen. Since you'll be conducting surveys, we wanted to share with you a few trauma-informed approaches. Please remember, you are a stranger coming into an area where someone is staying. So please be respectful of their choice whether or not to participate in the survey, as this is voluntary. And while we do have incentives, it is ultimately up to the person experiencing homelessness on whether or not to participate. Please also be sure to respect people's space by not taking pictures, socially distancing, and not blocking exits. Also, be sure to announce your presence, say hello, and ask to approach. Please do not knock on cars or attempt to open closed spaces such as tents, RVs, or other structures. It's also important to not surprise people or walk up unexpectedly. Please be sure to ask questions clearly and consistently while being aware of your tone. And also, this is just a kind reminder to be kind and don't judge. The people you're serving are experiencing homelessness, which is inherently traumatic. Here are a few interview do's. Please show up for your volunteer shift, talk to people in a respectful manner, and treat everyone with dignity. Be sure to introduce yourself and explain what you're doing. Later on today, we'll be going through some different scripts and some tools to help you do that. Please offer incentives first, regardless of an individual's participation. If people are sitting or lying down, it's helpful to try to meet them at their level. Please make sure to ask the questions as they are written in the mobile device. Participation is voluntary, but any survey question can be refused or skipped by participants. Please do your best to completely fill out the survey or observation form, and be genuine and thank people for their time if they did opt to participate in the survey. As you're surveying, here are things to not do. Please don't push to survey someone who does not want to talk. Simply record this as an observation unable to survey, and we'll show you how to do that in the app later on today. Please don't push to get answers if someone wants to skip a question. Don't point out or draw unnecessary attention to them. Please don't bring expensive or excessive personal items with you. Please do not promise housing or put yourself or others in danger, as well as please do not touch or wake up people who are trying to sleep. And as always, be sure to announce yourself or make yourself known. Don't surprise anyone. Here are some examples on how to introduce yourself, redirect a conversation, as well as wrap up a survey. So for example, if I were surveying, I may walk up to someone and say, "Hi, my name's Jamie, and I'm a volunteer with a point in time count. Would you like a pair of socks today? Have you talked to anyone today?" This survey is to learn more about your experience and services needed in our community. It's about 5 minutes long. Is that something you'd be interested in doing? Or may I ask you a few questions? Sometimes people will consent and begin the survey with you. However, they may want to share more of their story or just share different experiences they're going through. One way to redirect them back to the survey is saying something like, "I really appreciate you doing this survey and sharing your experience with me. I do have some other areas to cover tonight. Can we continue to the next question?" That's a great way to kind of move on to the next question while honoring the fact that that person is being open and sharing with you their experiences. At the end, it might be helpful to say something like, "Thank you so much for your time and for sharing this information. I really appreciate it. Take care." So when we're talking about the full survey or census method, we're talking about surveying those experiencing homelessness and asking them some pretty in-depth questions. During the point in time, your role is to be a surveyor. So we want to go through some things that you are responsible for, as well as things you are not responsible for. So things that you should be doing is approaching people about taking the survey and asking the questions as written, identifying yourself as a volunteer. If someone asks for help, handing out a resource card if provided, reporting any concerns you have to your point of contact, and then also directing any questions to your site point of contact. And then please be sure to arrive for your volunteer shift regardless of weather. Things you're not responsible for: responding to someone's concerns or comments, providing answers to questions about housing or services, providing anyone with direct assistance, responding to panhandling requests, finding someone a place to stay, or going out of your placement area to do a survey. One of the challenges with the point in time is how to identify vehicle dwellings. Please be sure to follow instructions from your team lead. If no one is visible near the car or it's late, just complete the observation form, which we'll show you later. Vehicle residence can generally be determined if it possesses at least 3 of the following 6 characteristics. Number 1, the view through the car from front to rear is blocked. At least one side window is blocked by sheeting, blankets, panels, and/or curtains. There is evidence of unfrozen condensation on the windows, as condensation from breathing is often a sign of habitation. At least one window is partially open. There are also often items associated with vehicle residency, such as generators, bicycles, or storage containers externally secured. There are also sometimes unusually large volumes of possessions, sometimes appearing as garbage because they're often in bags within or near the vehicle. In the next section, we'll actually review the mobile survey to familiarize you with it, as well as give you the opportunity to use a survey on your own. We'd now like to actually show you the Mobile 2022 Unsheltered Survey. Please pause this video, grab your cell phone, open your web browser, and head to the link that's on your screen. Please note, the link is case sensitive, so please be sure to capitalize the F and the S in the link. Also, you're able to test, beta test, play around with this as much as you'd like until January 23rd. On January 24th, the survey will be live, so please only enter real surveys after the 23rd. Once you've accessed the survey, please continue in the video. A few notes. The mobile survey contains something called skip logic, meaning based on the answers to questions, the survey adapts. For example, if an individual indicates that they are a youth based on their date of birth, youth supplemental survey questions will become available in the app. Please be sure to collect the information on all people in the household if there is more than one person in the household. The survey does require an internet connection, so in the instance that you might be in an area where there is no internet, please be sure to secure and bring paper surveys. Also, please ensure your location services are on, specifically enabled for the web browser that you intend to use. This will make surveying go much faster. The first thing you'll be asked to include is information about your team as well as your name. So you can see on the screen it's volunteer first name, last name, the name of your team leader, the county, and depending on where you're counting, the region and census tract will auto-populate for you. The reason that we ask for the team lead is in case there are any questions that we might have that occur from when you were surveying. Once you've completed that, you go ahead and click the Next button. The next screen is the Consent to Survey screen. This is the actual screen you'll be using when you're approaching someone to talk to them about the point in time. Now you'll see it says, "May I ask you some questions for the point in time survey?" And underneath it has some helpful hints. Now the person may say yes or no. If they say no, please check no and hit next. And then you'll record them as a refusal or observation. If they do in fact say yes, you'll then ask if another volunteer already did this survey. If they say yes, you'll move on to the next person. But if they say no, you'll check no and then click next. This is where you'll get into the actual questions that you'll want to go through with them. You can see there where they stayed the night of January 24th. And then what you'll want to do is make sure that you record the location you're at. It does allow you to check OK, which should pull up your location, but if you need to move the pin, you can do so. And once you've set it in the right location, you simply hit the white arrow at the top of the screen. If you're unable to record your location, you can also type it in using the cross streets that are nearest to you. You then will go through and ask the individual a series of questions. For example, what was your last permanent residence before you became homeless? You can record that by zip code or city, state. Then ask them if you're not using any type of shelter, why they're not staying in shelter. Ask them if this is their first experience of homelessness, how long have you been homeless? And as you can see, there are many other questions to include in this section of the survey. This is one of the most important sections, and again, please be sure to ask these as written. Once you've collected that, you'll go ahead and click Next. On the next screen, you'll be collecting certain demographic information and submitting your actual survey. The reason that we collect this information is so that we can ensure we're able to deduplicate and make sure that a person is only counted once. So you'll ask the person the first 3 letters of their first name, their head of household. Then you'll also ask them the first 3 letters of their last name, the head of household, their date of birth, again for deduplication purposes. And this is where you'll see is your date of birth on or after 1/31/1997. If they do say yes, that means they are a youth and the youth supplemental will pop up. If they say no, you'll simply continue on. You'll ask them about identification, ethnicity, race. If they are a veteran, then again, supplemental questions will pop up. And then you'll want to ask them about disabling conditions and barriers for the head of household. This is where you'll ask information such as whether or not they have chronic health conditions, mental health concerns, developmental disabilities, physical disabilities, and then if they have a second family member, you'll want to add them, as well as 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Once you're done, you'll simply hit Submit, and this screen will pop up if you've been successful. To go to the next survey, there's a blue button that simply says, please hit here. Now that you've seen the survey and have access to it, we do encourage you to practice with a partner. Find someone and practice giving the survey using the tools and techniques that we've shared today. While we will be using the mobile version of the survey, a paper version is also available in the event that there's an internet outage or any other sort of unexpected technical issue. You can see here it has the same exact questions as the mobile device. It is 2 pages. And again, if someone is a youth, we'll also have the youth supplemental survey. Before we wrap up today, just a few important reminders and expectations. We do want to let you know that all information collected is kept confidential and used only in aggregate reporting. If you're ever uncertain of anything, please be sure to ask your team lead or point of contact. It's a great idea to practice the survey between now and the time that you'll be giving it. Being comfortable asking the questions and using the online device will make the day so much easier and so much more successful for you and the people that you're surveying. Please be sure to bring your fully charged phone and show up for your shift. If you're feeling ill, please be sure to contact your local coordinator, and then be on the lookout for further details regarding your community's count and how you'll specifically be engaging. As we said earlier, confirmation of completion is a requirement to participate. To confirm you've completed this training, please complete the short questionnaire found at the link on your screen. And lastly, thank you. From the Metro Denver Homeless Initiative, the organizations included in this count, as well as from those experiencing homelessness. We couldn't do this count without you and are so appreciative of your cooperation and your participation in the 2022 count. Thank you.